Back in 1996, amidst all of the chaos of the 90s, Pokémon Green and Pokémon Red were released in Japan and, well, in the long run, the world quite literally was changed by that. In those games, we played the part of a young trainer trying to reach the top, trying to become the Indigo League champion, but there were some obstacles along the way. Those, more often than not, came in the form of Team Rocket. Team Rocket was the original evil team in Pokémon games, the one all of us 90s kids will forever remember. And atop the villainous mountain sits their boss that we know as Giovanni, or at least that's one of his names. So hey, I'm not so ace trainer, and what about Giovanni? Let's get into it. It's no secret that I love evil teams, because I don't really try to hide it. I had a whole series about them back in the day, and even to this day I keep speculating about current possible evil teams. I just can't help it. For some of you though, it might be a secret that I have a degree in criminology, so there's kind of an academic flair behind this interest of mine. And during my student years, one thing that we talked about a lot was, well, organized crime. When I mentioned Team Rocket was the evil team in the beginning, it was just a way of simplifying it, and that's because Team Rocket works very much like a crime syndicate. Most teams up to Gen 9 have grandiose ideals that are not realistic outside of the Pokémon universe. You don't constantly fear that someone will release an otherworldly beast that can steal our world's light. If you did, you'd kinda live in a constant panic. And the same goes for someone releasing a crazy creature that can steal your country's power. That's not our everyday worry. But in Gen 1, there was no crazy lore behind things. It was basically a high-tech version of our world, but with cool monsters that we could catch. And Team Rocket is the reflection of that exactly. They want money, they want power, and they'll get it through crime. They'll steal, they'll pressure businesses, they'll do everything they can in order to reach that goal. And it all happens because of one man, Giovanni. Or Sakaki, its Japanese name, its original name actually. And that is where localization kinda changes our perception of this team's origins. Looking at Giovanni's name, we would think Italian mafia, but in order to look at the origins of Team Rocket, we have to start where it all started, in Japan with Rocket Gang. While most of us look at Japan as an incredibly fascinating place, which it is, there's also more beyond the shiny lights and incredible temples. And today, I'll talk a little bit about one of those things, the Yakuza. The Yakuza, or as the Japanese police wants them to be called, the Boryokudan, are a Japanese organized crime syndicate that is thought to have originated from the tekiya, which were peddlers that traveled from town to town, not really belonging anywhere and that usually sold illegal or illegally obtained goods, and the bakuto, which were gamblers, something else that was illegal and seen as a really bad thing in Japanese society. They're also easily recognizable through their almost full-body tattoos. In fact, this part about tattoos can actually be somewhat connected to early Giovanni. The original sprite of Team Rocket's boss has him in a very different design from the one I've been using. While it shifted to the more classic suit-wearing type of boss, it used to have a more relaxed look to it, seemingly having an open coat revealing part of its chest. This eventually evolved into a shirt, of course, and the Yakuza keep the middle of their chests without any tattoos as a way of self-preservation, of being able to wear an open shirt, for example, without revealing their true identity. And just here, we see two major things in Team Rocket: the selling of illegal or illegally obtained goods like they did with the Slowpoke Tails in Azalea Town or the fossils in Mount Moon, and gambling like they do in the Game Corner in Celadon City. And in the 90s, when the Pokémon games were released, the Yakuza were well established in Japanese society. They had their hands in many legal businesses, just like Sakaki has as the gym leader of Viridian City. This could also tie in with how the Yakuza was hired by the Japanese government as security before, for example. They also control illegal gambling in Japan, and while the Celadon Game Corner is legal, as far as I can tell, it is hiding an illegal operation. Adding to this, you had home invasions and theft, just like you see in Gen 1 in Cerulean City with the TM28, and the distribution of illegal substances and goods, just like we see with them smuggling Pokémon. This makes Team Rocket's inspiration on the Yakuza undeniable. And if this wasn't enough, we even see it on Giovanni's Japanese name, Sakaki. Sakaki is the name of an evergreen tree that is considered sacred to Japanese Shinto faith, being one of the usual offerings at Shinto shrines. The peddlers that I mentioned above, the tekiya, were sometimes hired as security at Shinto festivals, and when they weren't, they would still open their stalls there to sell their illegal goods. There's also a ceremony to formalize one loyalty relationship in the Yakuza that has members sharing sake from a single cup, something that is also performed in traditional Shinto weddings. Team Rocket or Rocket Gang was built as the Pokémon world's version of the Yakuza, and this could kind of cause some issues outside of Japan to the Western world, because people wouldn't understand as much of what was going on there if it was named Sakaki. And with all that lore that thought put behind the big bad boss, how could they fix it? Well, it turns out that one single world and a stereotype could pretty much make those two points of view align. Turns out, organized crime doesn't change a lot throughout the world, and while this origin seems so tailored to the Japanese reality, nothing would matter if they were able to shift our Western perception. And so, all they needed was to look at Western media to understand where the most famous organized crime syndicates in the world are from. Sure, nowadays Mexican cartels are the most talked about, especially after TV shows like Narcos, but in the 90s, you just came from The Godfather, Goodfellas and Scarface. Everyone was pointed at Italian mafia, Italian-American mafia, and all they needed after that was a name. And it was the most stereotypical name of all, Giovanni. To be fair, Tony would make it even more stereotypical, but this alone made us Westerners recognize him as more of a threat. And it worked with the American market as well, as I said, since Italian-American mafia movies were the big thing. So many movies where the Italian mafia was portrayed to us as a dangerous organization, and now we're facing Pokemon's version of it. It didn't matter what was behind all of it, all of that Shinto backstory, since the boss itself was the final frontier, the one we had to cross before heading to the Pokemon League, our objective. And to this day, Team Rocket still holds up as one of the most iconic villains in all of media, and without a doubt, the most iconic villain in all of Pokemon, be it in their game, their anime, or their manga form. And that is all I have for you today, just a fun video about how I feel like Sakaki's localized name, Giovanni, is the perfect name for the Team Rocket's boss, and I think it makes it even more iconic because of it. But what about you? Let me know what your favorite evil team is. Let me know that in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. You can follow me on social media and Twitch. I stream there Wednesday to Sunday, not Saturday, or join our Discord. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.